Does your service end whenever you have found suppliers, or do you also offer quality control? Very typical question, very good question indeed. And no, our services don't have to stop when we find potential producers and hand them over to you. We can, of course, continue going deeper and not only finding the potential suppliers for the samples, but we're going in even deeper, and later on, after we've decided for which sample, or you have decided which sample should be the mass production, we're, of course, going in and arranging for the mass production. We're monitoring the mass production, and of course also do quality control. And what does a quality control process usually look like? It is not that the supplier will send us some samples to test from the mass production and say, here, go check those units. Why not? Well, for the very simple reason that the supplier for sure will have made sure that those samples look good. But that's not how you do quality control. Quality control, much in a different way, is that we, our team, actually go into the factories. We go, of course, arrange for an appointment with the supplier and then show up. And the typical thing, the typical situation usually is they welcome us, they pick us up. Quite often in China, you're being picked up in a 7 Series limousine, you're being taken to the factory, even though it's the smallest factory out there in the countryside. And you think, like, how do you afford a 7 Series BMW? But that's just China, and impression on luxury is a big thing. Now, at the same time, you arrive, you're being treated nicely. Here's some tea, there's some whatever snacks and everything. And then they're putting like 2 or 3 boxes there in front of you, and we'll say, thank you so much. But we're just gonna step over them and say, we want that box, this one over there, and oh, by the way, the third one from the top in row number 7. We are going to pick which units we want to test. And of course, according to AQL 1, 2, or 3, whatever standard we want to achieve, whatever acceptance rate we have, we go in and check the products in detail. We can go to say that, let's get started, and we say we test 5 to 10% of the products and see if just a few units are broken, a few units are acceptable of not being the highest standard, and we're fine with that if you agree with this and whatever the discussion, whatever the requirements from your side are. But at the same time, of course, the more and more we figure out that there are problems with a product, the deeper we go. The more units we test, and we can, of course, if wanted, go for tests of even up to 100%. And even it could be as simple steps or as simple examples of whether a sticker is placed nicely, or an old sticker has been removed. True story. An old sticker has been removed, and whether there are still some glue marks to be seen on the product itself before the new one has been placed onto. Anything that's requiring the quality control, we can check in. Just define them as requirements and look for them. But now here, after quality control, of course, what else can come? It is very simple to say that after the mass production, quality control may need to happen again, not only in the pre-production, in the middle of the production, but of course also before the end, before shipping. It could also be quality control or quality inspection with the goods package, doing the typical drop tests out of 1 or 2 meter height, whatever is required. Seeing if they are having internal damages inside the boxes and so on, as well as the quality of how the labeling of the boxes of the single units or of the big packing units has been done. Now, next thing, what still needs to be done is to ship the goods. So arranging and finding for shipping companies, forwarders and carriers, all the way until importing the goods, which you will legally have to do. You just pretty much tell the carrier to say, hey, those are my goods, please import them for me. Those are the requirements, commercial invoices and packing lists. Here are the HS codes, etc., etc. With all of the steps, of course, we can help in preparation. And later on also continue doing the reorder, the restocking of the units if needed, and or extending additional product portfolio. But as well, it could continue going deeper into quality, not only quality research, but certificate research, patent research, applying for patents or design protections, utilities, etc. So there are quite a few steps you can still do afterwards. It does not need to stop with finding the suppliers and sending you off with the samples.